When I have reflected on my own wilderness seasons, God has spoken. When I have had really powerful movements of the Spirit into significant ministry moments or opportunities, what preceded them was wilderness.
Welcome to The Weekly, a podcast brought to you by Calvary Bible Church. I'm your host, Jay Ewing. Thanks for tuning in. Like always, get connected and stay connected by visiting calvarybible.com. Click your campus and find out what is happening in your neck of the woods. So many great things happening as we turn the page into 2026. We want you to stay connected with us. You got to visit calvarybible.com. Today we have a wonderful guest with us, none other than Jennie Fletemeyer. Hi, Jennie.
Hi, Jay.
It's so good to sit down with you.
It is fun to be here.
It's a really fun conversation we're about to have.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
I know it. Okay, so for those who aren't on the Erie campus, who are you and what do you do around here?
Yeah. Jennie Fletemeyer. I've been on staff here for almost 4 years come Easter. That's pretty special. And I oversee family ministries, kind of cradle through the end of high school. So think all the kids, all their moms and dads, and the amazing staff that I get to support is my jam.
So fun, so fun. What is one of your favorite things about Calvary in your 4 years that you've been here?
Ooh, that is a big bucket question. I think on a personal level. So I came here after being at a church for 20 years on a church in Boulder. I was on staff. And leaving there was really hard for my family. And yet we felt very confident that this was the Lord's complete leading. Wasn't something we were looking for. And God was like, this is where I'm taking you. And because it was so hard, especially for my kids to leave the church that they were born and raised at, my husband was born and raised at that church, they were full of emotion and questions. They didn't know where they were headed. And they were all heading into middle school.
Yeah.
Or I should say middle school and high school. And seeing where they're at now in their faith journeys, they can look back and see that this was a turning point in their faith of growth and discipleship. Not that what they had where we were at was less than. Yeah. It was just, where are we going and how is it growing? So seeing my kids embrace their faith at a whole new level with the leaders and being leaders has been probably the best gift for me as a mom, to see their own faith become continually their own.
Yeah, that's such a great answer to that question. I would say from the 4 years I've seen your family, there's so many gifts that the Fletemeyers bring to Calvary Bible Church. And they're on full display in so many different seasons.
Oh, it's pretty special.
It's super fun, yeah.
It's special. It's neat to be at a place that invites students to discover their gifts.
Yeah.
And they're not just the future of the church, they're like the church right now.
Yeah.
And that's pretty awesome.
That is awesome. So on your ideal day off, it's January, your ideal day off. What are you doing on your Fridays?
What do you think I'm doing, Jay?
Well, I know what you're doing, but no one else does.
You know, my Fridays are kind of my Sabbath. So in the winter months, I go skiing with Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Yep.
So I have my ski pass, and I usually head up to the mountains and ski alone, but not alone. Yeah. Sometimes I feel chatty, and we'll chat with my little seatmate going up the chairlifts, but usually I'm just singing and praying and talking and just escaping kind of from my regular rhythms. Get up in the mountains. It fills my tank.
That is super
to be
fun.
Up there. It's a little bit about the skiing, but it's a lot about being up in God's creation with Him.
That's really sweet.
I know.
Thanks
I love
for sharing that with
Thank
us. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so we have you on the podcast because just this last weekend we had a fantastic winter weekend.
Yep.
That is the middle school winter retreat. Happens annually every year here at Calvary. And you were the speaker this year.
I was.
The theme was Full Send. So talk us through what that looked like, how the weekend unfolded.
Oh, absolutely. I was hesitant at first when they asked, because I had not spoken to middle school students for probably 25 years. And even before that, I hadn't spoken to many middle school environments. So I was like, okay. But I said yes, and I'm so glad I did because I was so impressed with the depth of ministry to middle schoolers.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun, but man, they can worship.
Yep.
And they were eager to learn and play. Seeing all of our high school students lead the way, lead by example, it is just astounding to me. And it also helps when you have your own kids in the mix.
Right.
You just see how the Lord's using these students to raise up this next level. So that was a blessing. And also our staff is just incredible to me. To see them in the center of their giftings and working together with all three staffs was beautiful. I could tell you a little about Full Send.
Yeah, let's break it down a little bit.
Okay, let's break it down.
For those who weren't there, we're interested.
I know. It's funny. I've had some parents go, I never knew what Full Send meant.
Yeah.
So it goes back to skiing.
Yep.
So I was on a chairlift and just going up, minding my own business. And there were two skiers just bombing down the hill. And they were about to hit a lip where you could kind of stop, or you could do a little fly, if you will. And the guys behind me, in the chairlift behind me, yell, Full Send! And what that means in skier language is, oh, just go for it. All out. Don't hold anything back. And so when I was thinking about this weekend that we just experienced, my prayer for these middle school students is that they would get inspired, be reminded, be invited into full send for Jesus,
right.
Fully following him, but then also embracing this idea that they are fully sent by him. Yep. So depending on where the students were, they embraced that message at different levels. Some surprising things that took place. Because I speak to a variety of different ages, whether it's preparing something for kids or parents or middle schoolers or high schoolers or adults, for me, it always comes back to the same messages. God's truth is God's truth.
Right.
How we package it is different, but the basic message is the basic messages. So to have some of the adult leaders come up to me and say, that was not just for my kid this weekend, that was for me. Yeah. I needed to hear that. So that's always really encouraging, you know. We had 3 students that made first-time commitments that we know about.
That is so sweet. Which
is just, that's where a lot of, middle school is a lot of space where students are discovering their faith for their own selves. Yep. That's where it happened for me. I committed my life to Jesus when I was 5, but it was in middle school that I think it really became my own.
Right.
Because there was a leader who I wanted to be like, and she followed Jesus. Therefore, I needed to follow Jesus. And I think that is a lot of the connecting of the dots on a weekend away like this, where students have so much access to their leaders and are watching how they live. They're disciples of their leaders. So that was pretty special.
Yeah, that is sounds like a wonderful weekend. Mm-hmm. So what was sort of like, you know, I've heard about popcorn machine.
Oh, yeah.
And the funny parts about that.
Yes.
What was like your favorite illustration all weekend through?
Ooh, favorite illustration. Yeah. What's so fun about speaking with middle schoolers is I had Play-Doh up there at one point.
Yep.
You have popcorn up there. You have talking about walking in the dust of Jesus and getting dirty. So I would say the one I was most anticipating was this popcorn analogy. And it was this idea, it was the second talk. And the first message was all about come and follow Jesus, that powerful invitation that we have the freedom to say yes or no to. Yes. And that was when so many students, majority of the students rededicated their life that night. We had these nets that were hung up on the walls that, just like the first disciples, just dropped their nets immediately and followed. We invited the students the very first night. Don't wait till the second night. Very first night, say, oh, I want to drop my nets and follow. And so we had... of the 150, 60 students that were up there, there were so many. I didn't even anticipate the response that we had of students saying, I want to follow closer. I'm following, but I want to follow closer. Yeah. That was the first visual, was just the nets, the fish nets. But the first morning, the second talk was this idea of when you follow Jesus, when you choose to follow him, the Holy Spirit comes and lives inside of you. He's this deposit guaranteeing your inheritance. And it's a power that comes with gifts that he's given you. And these gifts are unique to you and they're personal. And inviting students to think about what are some gifts that you have been given as a result of having the Holy Spirit live inside you. But not even just gifts, what are some passions that he has uniquely created and wired in you because you are fearfully and wonderfully made from the beginning of time. He's put in you these special people and passions. And then what are opportunities and what are different just life circumstances that God can use. So we looked at the parable of the talents and we explored how, here two people were given a lot and they did much with them. And one person played it safe and buried it. So we use this analogy of, are you burying what you've been given or are you allowing God to boost what you've been given, kind of fanning into flame the gifts that he's given you? So use this analogy of little kernels of corn, that we've all been given some kernels that are really uniquely given to us. And are you going to bury those because you're embarrassed, ashamed, or haven't really seen people use them? Or are you like that? They're gifting better than yours. All different kinds of reasons why we might bury fear. That's what's in the parable, is just fearful. Because God can't grow what we hide as well as he can grow what we tried. So I was trying to convey this message of investing what you've been given. I'm like, how do you teach middle schoolers investing? Oh, you pull out a popcorn machine. So I was putting popcorn, these little kernels of popcorn, into the popcorn machine because we know that once the heat is brought, the popcorn just pop, and it bubbles over and you're like, I cannot believe that much popcorn came from that amount of kernels of corn. So it came to the end of the message, the big crescendo moment, because as I'm just giving examples of what they've been given and talking about the talents and the parable and stuff, just adding kernels of corn into the popcorn machine. I'm like, okay, you guys ready to see what happens when you give God and you trust him with what you've been given? And the plan was for the popcorn machine to just bubble over with popcorn. It's a really, really fun visual. Unless you poured too much popcorn in the popcorn machine. Yeah. And right as I'm saying, it's not about the kernel that has the power. It's that you've entrusted God to bring the heat. Yeah. And right when I'm talking about God bringing the heat, I turned on the popcorn machine and it started fire on stage. It started smoking and all the things. I'm like, wow, this is an incredible visual right now. This is not what we expected. Yeah. So we had a big chuckle, and it definitely smelled up the room, and the kids were like, this is so cool. And I was like, have no fear, kids. We have fresh popcorn bags for you that you get to have in your small group right after this. And they were all like, yeah. So I redeemed myself definitely as I kicked off the third message. I showed them that the power of the popcorn machine can work if you don't overstuff it. Isn't that class? Basically, I full send the moment. Yeah, totally. I overgave to the popcorn. I overinvested or something. I'm sure there's a deeper analogy there.
I'm sure you're going to find it too.
But the classic is that's what kids are coming home talking about.
Yeah, totally.
And the popcorn.
The smell.
Yes. Yeah. They will remember it for longer than I probably thought they could.
That's great, Jenny. Thanks so much for sharing even the funny parts of retreat.
Oh, it's so good.
It gives us just an insight of what students at Calvary experience when they go away, when we're praying for them on a Sunday.
That's right.
When we send them, when we scholarship, all those things that are involved with so many people at Calvary with the student ministry. It's great to hear what actually transpires.
It really is cool. One more thing, I could talk about it a lot. The final message is about the big go. Yeah. Like you're sent. Yeah. As a disciple, now you become someone who you actually want to make disciples, following Jesus. And we invited all the students to pick up a full send challenge card, if you dare. Because if you grabbed one of these challenge cards, you're committing that you'll do it. Yeah. And the challenges that were on the cards were legit. So much so that I know some adults wouldn't even pick them up. Things like memorizing these many chapters in the Bible, or raising money as a middle schooler to send someone to Maranatha.
Right.
Or for the next 52 weeks, learn about a Bible character every week. You know, like really significant commitment. Lead a Bible study for your family. Study up on foster care and respond to the Lord appropriately. So really neat challenges that I'm really excited for students to full send following Jesus in.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Jenny, now that we've sort of debriefed Winter Weekend, explain to us the process of disciple making. That's one value here at Calvary. It's our first value, make disciples. So explain the sort of the disciple making process within Calvary Kids and student ministry. For those who are unfamiliar, what are the rhythms that we sort of develop disciples?
Oh, there's so much that can be said about this. One really exciting piece that is being developed by and I'll get to your question too, that's being developed by our high school and middle school team right now is actually a discipleship pathway.
Yeah.
They're in the process of really wanting to crystallize what are some key moments and key decisions that a student can make that leaders and parents can recognize, and then from there take them to the next one.
Right.
So I'm really excited to see what they come up with. There's so many great resources out there, but we really wanted to have a Calvary stamp of what it looks like and how it fits into our programming. So that's something that we can, well, spoiler alert, that I know they're working hard at, which is great. Wow, starting at kids level, this is probably the number one reason why I entered into family ministry, was because I really wanted to help train parents to be the primary influence of their home.
Yeah.
Pastors of their home, parents as pastors is kind of what my heart's cry is, like to embrace their recognized, unique field position, that they have the most amount of time more than anyone.
Yeah.
And to embrace that not just with kids when they're young, but when they're in upper elementary and then in middle school, and then still stay engaged.
Right.
As they're sending their kid off to college and in high school.
Right. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It is
a marathon. And yes, it looks different at every stage, but there is key pieces and components that we want parents to embrace and recognize. They don't have to have all the answers, but to be an example of someone who is dependent on Christ and showing their child what it looks like. So there's lots of different milestones along the way within our family ministry. You can look on our family ministry website, actually, under the Parents tab, and you'll see that we have 3 different pillars that are the same in early childhood, elementary, middle school, and high school. So I encourage you to check out that website. But in Calvary Kids, it starts as babies. We want parents to be intentional with blessing their children regularly. When they're just in their crib, they can't even hear you. Right. You know, I mean, they can't even understand what you're saying, but they're getting blessed, you know? And then as parents, learning what it looks like to capitalize on everyday moments and having spiritual conversations around those.
And making them really natural.
Making
for
them
your family,
really natural.
For your family.
That's right.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have take-home sheets that kids get sent home with, whether it's crafts or literal things that can show parents, this is what we did in Sunday school today.
Right.
You know, we encourage you to have conversations on the way home.
Right.
Encourage you to have conversations around the dinner table so that parents truly are set up for success and are prime in their kids' lives, which is huge. We also obviously do our 3rd grade Bible. And that's a significant milestone because that's when kids are learning how to really read. Right. Not just read to read, but read for content. And we want parents to be a part of it. That's why we don't give the Bibles to them. We have parents be the ones that give the Bibles to them.
That's a special Sunday around here.
It is such a special Sunday. Then this actual last Sunday, when we were up at Winter Weekend, we did our 4th grade communion class. Yep. And really wanting our kids to understand what is communion and how is it connected to Passover and the Last Supper and the Israelites leaving Egypt, and having a little mini Seder meal with them and getting to give them a booklet that they can take home and talk about it with their parents. And actually, I think the kids in this situation could be teaching their parents some things.
Very much so.
But also wanting the parents to be prime in helping them understand, what is communion all about? Right. Same thing with baptism with kids. Yes, we love it when parents are a part of their baptism experience, but we give parents and kids a booklet there too, because we want parents to be prime, that they're having these conversations at home about the decision that their child is making to choose Jesus. Right. Then when we get into middle school, obviously our incredible middle school program, lots of parent volunteers and adults and students that are discipling these kids, but we have something called MTN. Yep. I know you're familiar with. Another opportunity that we're trying to set up parents for success to disciple their kids and have these spiritual conversations about things that are really important that perhaps as a parent you wouldn't naturally bring up or feel as confident to bring up, but you're teed up to talk about uncomfortable things, exciting things, spiritual things, Bible studies, all in one day. Yeah. That's what MTN is about. Then in high school, that's where a lot of parents might be like tapped out. It's all about the adults, Bible study leaders, small group leaders. That's when they do all the work. But we actually want parents to lean in and stay engaged and asking questions. It'll look different. Yeah. But keeping up with what your student is learning, how they use their phones, to what kind of friends they're hanging out with, what kind of conversations are they having. What did you learn at church today? How come you didn't want to come today? Yeah. What was it like at the retreats that you just went to? Like engaging in these conversations, because those can naturally become less unless you become more intentional with them. So discipleship, there is a solid pathway that I'm really grateful for that we have at Calvary, and it just keeps on getting better with the staff that we have, really wanting to tee it up for parents and leaders. Yeah,
I think the other part of that discipleship pathway within Calvary Kids and student ministry is like the older elementary starts serving in Calvary Kids and youngers. Mm-hmm. And then in middle school mayhem, so that's our middle school Sunday night programming. Mm-hmm. High schoolers serve as small group leaders with coaches, adults in the room, helping them navigate how do you disciple a middle schooler, right?
Isn't that so cool?
And then it's just like, it's the generational of just rhythms that we have here at Calvary, that discipling and being disciples is a natural rhythm. Mm-hmm. Like it should be a natural rhythm for most Christians. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it hasn't been. Yep. And so just setting the expectation, this is what it looks like. Mm-hmm. And you get students go off to college and like they jump into Bible studies and they disciple others. And it's just incredible that the sort of the rhythms that are established within the community here at Calvary are sustained and live and move in a way which hopefully creates lasting faith
Absolutely.
for students.
My oldest daughter said that her best decision she has made in high school was to be a mayhem leader. Yeah. Because of how much she has learned and been trained in, how much she's been able to, it's not just what you give, it's also what you receive in these relationships that who you're discipling has been really rewarding. So much so that she carries that more with confidence when she goes into her next place. My middle daughter's doing it, and my youngest is just about to get trained, and guess what? She cannot wait for it to start. So that's pretty exciting when your own kids are really passionate about learning how to disciple other people. And that's what our church sets students up to do.
I love it.
And now it's for their whole life.
Totally. I agree. I even have a fifth grader in my house who knows the year and date that he can become a mayhem leader. Yes. So the countdown has already started in his head.
Isn't that so cool?
That's just amazing. Yeah, it's just incredible.
It's not a burden to disciple. No. It is a blessing.
It is.
And they have been blessed to be this blessing to other people. And they don't know all the answers. We don't know all the answers, but they're available and they're showing up.
That's right. Being willing, sort of like the popcorn kernel.
That's right.
Yeah, put
Invest
some heat on
what you've been given. See what God does.
So, okay, let's turn the corner. Let's talk about the gospel, John. What are sort of your reflections as you've been listening, studying, sitting with your family in the gospel, John? What has like stood out to you this time around while we've sort of
That's great. I am reading the Gospel of John simultaneously with reading the Gospel of Luke.
Okay.
And as you know, some stories are included and some are not,
Right.
depending on which gospel that you're reading. Real time, right now, what I'm really reflecting on is this idea that God has a word for you in the wilderness. And seeing the different challenging seasons that Jesus is in, or that the people that he interacts with are in, whether it's Lazarus and him taking time, his own sweet time to get out there to help.
Yeah.
That God has a word for you in the wilderness. And I was reading in Luke 4 recently about Jesus in the wilderness and his own time with that. And he went into the wilderness, I think very expectant, right after being baptized, straight to the wilderness, expectant to receive words from his heavenly Father in a really challenging time.
Yeah.
But I think because of who he is and what he understands about his heavenly Father, he knew that God would provide. He knew that God would give his word in the wilderness. There is this Hebrew-Greek word play, davar in the midbar. Davar is the Hebrew word for word, and midbar is the Hebrew word for wilderness. And they had the same Hebrew-Greek word. And this connection of God will give you his word when you're in the wilderness. Don't fear it,
Yeah.
but expect it. Like go in open armed.
Yeah.
So as I was reading Luke 4 and seeing, guess what God did? He gave Christ clear words amidst each temptation
Right.
from the enemy. Clear word. And so when I have reflected on my own wilderness seasons, God has spoken. But what's even more, the word that he has given me in wilderness times, guess what happens after the wilderness a lot of times? What happened to Jesus? Huge ministry
Right.
launch right after he was in the wilderness.
That's right.
And when I reflect on my own life and see when I have had really powerful movements of the Spirit into significant ministry moments or opportunities, what preceded them was wilderness. And what could have been hard wilderness was actually hard, but really vulnerable, powerful moments with the Lord.
Yeah.
So right now, one of my kids is in a wilderness season. I would say two of them have some pretty strong wilderness vibes going on.
Yeah.
And I'm just praying that the Lord is speaking to them, giving them a word, giving them lots of his word. And wouldn't you know that just yesterday, I got sent a little, what is it, a podcast? But no, it's a Spotify song
Okay.
called Scars.
Yeah.
And my oldest daughter said, this is my theme song. And this song by I Am They is a worship song. And the kind of the tagline of the song is, I thank you for the scars, because without them, I wouldn't know who you are. I thank you for the scars, because with them, I know who you are. And just seeing that one of my kids has come to her own realization once again, that the hard seasons that she's experienced, she's now grateful for.
Right.
Because she has an intimacy with God that perhaps wasn't possible had she not gone through that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm reflecting on a lot of that as I go through John and seeing this expectant posture of Jesus,
Right.
that he's never in a hurry, that he's always on time, that his word is actually ripe when it's in the wilderness.
Yeah, I think you're right on. And even in your own sort of story here, even with the Gospel of John on John 11, it's like Lazarus is dead 4 days when the sisters run out to Jesus on the road while he walks into town. And just the distraught nature of which I can't imagine.
If you would have been here.
Yeah. And like they knew that Jesus knew their brother. And they knew the power.
Loved their brother.
Loved their brother and knew the power in which Jesus could hold over life. And then in that wilderness, they saw something far greater, the brother raising from the dead. And then the next thing we jumped into, even in John, is you understand now why Mary can anoint his feet with this very expensive nard and wipe it with her hair, because she had just come through a wilderness.
Oh.
And here it is, right?
Yep, that's exactly right.
The fullness of who Jesus was on display with her, and her response is extravagant. And so I think that's a right on with where we are in John. It's like, there's people who are listening, people at Calvary who are going through great wilderness moments, right?
Yeah.
And that word,
Devar in the midbar, the word in the wilderness,
is so important for us to remember that these are moments in which God will show up. And when he does, it'll be, I am the resurrection, right? And then our response, great ministries beyond that.
I wrote in the kind of on the page in John when Thomas said something along the lines of, when we thought, well, Jesus was 2 days delayed, that don't second guess his love for you by his response time.
Yeah.
He loves you no matter what. And his response time is not always what you think it matches what it would look like to be a loving response.
Yeah.
But he loves you no matter when and how he responds.
I think that's a beautiful way in which we should end it today, because that's right on, right? That's right on. So thanks so much for sitting down with us, Jenny.
Thank you.
So thankful for the ministry that God does through you here at Calvary, and just the fun you had this last weekend.
It was a blast.
A winter weekend, and just the way in which God is using people like you here at Calvary to disciple the next generation, and to really just empower those who are next up in the kingdom of God to be leaders. Yeah.
Privilege. Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Hey, Calvary, like always, visit calvarybible.com. Thanks for tuning in today. Make sure when you visit Calvary that you click that campus and really get connected here at Calvary. It's super important, especially as we go through the Gospel of John. And as you catch up with the Gospel of John, I just encourage you, as we turn the page in 2026, reread the Gospel of John. Get fresh eyes and heart and ears to where we're at, where we've been, and where we're going. I want to leave you today with Jesus' words he left with Mary, Martha in John 11. It says, I am the resurrection and life. Whomever believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. The question for Martha was this: do you believe this? We love you, Calvary. Look forward to talking with you, connecting with you this next Sunday. Have a great day.